Everybody, what is up? I'm so excited. You know, I've been talking about this, is reincarnation possible, on this channel? And guess what? I have brought religion and science together. Someone who actually knows something about the mind that can tell us from a professional point of view, are these things even possible? And then how can she tell us the possibilities of them? Her name is LaDonna. She's also my friend. She has done two past life regressions on me. One is on my YouTube page. The other one I will be uploading after this because we have some very special things coming up in this particular episode. But this is introducing LaDonna of Your Soul's Recovery. Hello, LaDonna.
Hello, Latiska. How are you, my dear?
You know, I'm happy. I'm
Good,
happy
good.
that you made it. We finally made it together.
We finally made it. And what a day to make it on.
Yes, 4/12,
Yes,
2022.
very powerful
4/12.
energy day. Very, very powerful energy day.
And to let you know, I have been walking in synchronicities
Yes,
all day
yes,
long. I looked at the clock. 1 minute was 111, 333, 444, 10. I have seen synchronicities all day long.
absolutely. Absolutely. So beautiful. The energy's so beautiful. Yes, very
And
much
being
so.
able to pay attention to that kind of stuff is the delicacy that I appreciate in life.
And
You
it
know,
is
just being able to
it,
know that these things are occurring around me.
right. And that's the magic that I talked about, like walking through the raindrops. You see the world differently.
And it's a beautiful world to see.
Yes, yes. Not what they want to present to us, but what is really there.
Now, I told the people how I know you from my past life regressions. So you let us know a little bit about who LaDonna is and how LaDonna got into soul recovery.
Yes, yes. My name is LaDonna Permenter, and I am with and own the practice Your Soul Recovery. And I worked in the medical field for 38 years. But my soul nudging began when my father passed when he was 48 and I was 21. His passing rocked my world, and it made me question life. In the medical field, I began to question life. I began a journey for many, many years questioning there must be more than one moment here and gone the next. That cannot be all that there is to this journey we call life. There had to be more. And through my own session, I learned that through the soul contract between my father and I, it was his time to pass to spark my journey. That was a contract that we agreed upon, and that happens in many people's lives. And I began this journey seeking a greater understanding and awareness that led me to find Miss Dolores Canning and her modalities of hypnosis regression. In 2016, I became certified in QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis therapy, and Dolores Cannon's modality. But I also was trained and certified in BQH Beyond Quantum Healing, which is through Candace Crawl Goldman. She is a person that trained and did all of Miss Dolores Cannon's computer and IT work. I did her training, which is Beyond Quantum Healing. And then I blended those modalities and many other modalities and made it my own, which is spiritual. And I do provide strictly QHHT or BQH if the client requests it specifically. Yes, I will provide just that if that's what they request. Spiritual regression is a journey towards guiding clients to release and heal what is presenting in the outside world in their life. Emotional life baggage that we bury deep within us that builds up and we carry it with us on our journey and it holds us back. We have to let go of the baggage. We have to be ready to lighten our load, to be ready to elevate in higher consciousness. And that's why this information is now becoming more and more in the forefront. But one can set oneself free by understanding the purpose of why these experiences present in our life and when we intend to, and what it is we intend to learn from them. Life itself is what allows you the awareness of the truth to live in the life that you want. Your higher self holds most of the loving to assist you as you seek greater understanding of the why, what, where. where, and whom. I did in session of my own, Miss Dolores, and she advised that we take our modalities, make them greater than they were when she was here, because she only created from what she understood in her 3D world. But she says that the evolution of the QHHT and the BQH and any modality that we do needs to evolve just as the clients are evolving. Most important fact is it needs to be stated here now that one modality or method is no better than the other. It all begins with the client's desire to understand themselves at the greatest level, to be open, receive, and believe. Allow. After all, we are energy in motion all the time, and it is said that energy is conserved, and you can convert energy from one form to another, but it cannot be destroyed, or it cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be. And that's what we are. We are immortal spiritual beings. We are energy, period. Period. And we are fractals of source God creator. And that is the most important interpersonal, non-physical force that there is.
LaDonna,
Mhm.
excuse me, please say that one more time. The importance to know who are we?
We are fractals of source God creator. And that is an interpersonal, non-physical force or the essence of. And we are the vehicle that source God creator experiences through. We are creators. We are creators.
So
Yes.
the higher is what a lot of people when they speak of manifesting and they say your higher self. The higher self would be the God particle of us.
Correct. The essence of you that never leaves source God. Your soul carries that fractal. And we experience life through the vehicle. And the vehicle that we really ride, that really wraps around us, is the word emotions. That word emotion. So the key is to understand completely that you are a creator. So use your energy wisely, use your energy responsibly, and ask yourself all the time, what am I creating? Where's my vibration?
Mm. Now, speaking of vibrations, can you explain polarity? Because to me, polarity has a lot to do with vibration.
Well, polarity is the two sides of one coin. Okay, because the one side of it is our conscious mind, which is our 3D everyday world. But then we also have the subconscious mind. Oh, that's your hard drive. That's the part of you that is constantly collecting memories and even the emotions that we bury deep within us. We carry that with us. That's our hard drive through every life we live on our journey, protecting and nurturing our soul, guiding our spirit to full awareness back with Source God.
So it is guiding us back to our
Yes,
natural blueprint.
correct,
If we
correct.
don't try to get in the way and force it another, because we
Well,
get in the way.
don't get in the way of our own way by not seeking to understand. And the beauty of it is that more people are experiencing it, but not quite sure why, but they are beginning. And the beginning part of it is when they begin to question why are these things happening? Why is this in my life? And that's usually how the soul will begin. It will definitely begin to
With
nudge you.
those questions.
Yes, to seek greater, to seek greater.
Now, I had a few questions prior to meeting you. One of those questions was, where am I? That was my
Hmm.
question to myself. Where am I? Then
Right.
I thought about, oh, I'm on a planet
Hmm.
in the middle of a galaxy, and the sky is blue because of the gas. But if the gas wasn't in the air, I would just see stars. So then that started my inquisitiveness. Like, okay, Latiska, you're really on a planet in the middle of space. What are you doing here?
Yes. Yes. You're beginning to question the validity of your existence, truly, and that's the beginning of seeking. And that seed is in every one of us, that seed. And all through your life, you may have had experiences where you feel like you're seeking something, but you just don't know what it is. And you say to yourself, well, how will I know when I'm there if I don't know where I'm going? You know? So the point is that to connect to that deeper part of you that's nudging you. And it will throw obstacles in the way, life-changing experiences to cause you to do a reset, like me losing my father, someone that has an illness. Those are things that cause us to seek inwards, to question. And the question is what guides you to seek the answers.
And that makes so much sense now that you said it. Looked like something just clicked inside of me
Right,
when you said what you just said. You probably have said that 1,000 times, but it's like it has said something to me now.
right.
Me
And
just thinking.
that's what I'm saying about it. You seek and the seeds will be planted. And when the time is right, everything will begin to click like dominoes. It will begin to click. But
And that,
the key is to understand that you are much greater than the vehicle that you're currently in. Much greater. And you've
and
lived
I,
many, many lives. Many, many
I,
lives.
I know a lot of us, a lot of people say that this is the avatar,
Hmm.
and within the avatar is a perfect soul. So we should see the avatar as a perfect body because it is
Absolutely.
the body that we have manifested to utilize or have picked out. I don't know if you pick out the body or if
You
you
do. You
manifest the
do.
body.
You do. It's part of your contracts that you agree to on the other side. And when I do the sessions, I take people to the other side to meet with the council that they discussed their trip with. A funny thing happens in that time because when we're the essence of the wholeness of who we are, picking out our life lessons and the players that we want to play because your soul group are the same players you play many games of life with. You all play different parts. And then when you're on this other side, you're thinking, okay, well, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to learn this. And I always tell my clients, view it like you're at a school cafeteria and you've got that tray and you're going through the line and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And by the time you get to the cashier, your tray is piled high. And the council says, oh, now is that a lot there to do? Are you sure? Are you sure? And you say yes, they'll negotiate and you'll set yourself up. And then you get here and you say, who did this? Why am I living this life? And we do not realize we played a very big part in making those choices. And that's the key. That's the key right there. Understanding that, knowing that we will encounter things in life because life is a constant vibrational journey and things will come to us as you and I have discussed because I've tried to instruct you in understanding this. You're the vibration and there's probabilities of positive and there's probabilities of negative. So where your vibration is determines what you're drawing to you and you will experience what you draw to you. Now you've planned those events. They're in your timeline, but you can be in all the things that you experience by making choices aware that you can choose to experience and how much of the experience you choose to experience.
Now, I was reading, well, I'm not going to say I've just sat there and just read the book, but I kind of glanced through, is it The Soul's Journey?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about that we can actually go back to the council and kind of,
Rewrite.
let's make a compromise on this right here. Now,
Right.
I've had enough of this.
And you can actually end contracts that you are experiencing that you feel that you have learned from. And if you have a bad experience with another person, because everyone that plays into your life thread, you've brought to you for a reason, no matter what the experience is. And that's hard to say depending on what someone experiences. But you can end a contract because you are energy every day when you're out in the world. Your vibration draws energy to you, and you leave an essence of your energy. So, again, as I say, at night when you close your eyes, pull back your energy, cleaning it as it returns to you, healing it and cleaning it, and release back any energy that does not belong to you, healing and cleaning it, putting it back where it goes.
Okay, so now that's with energies, but how can we just kind of touch on those energetic cords? Because those energetic cords can be some entanglements.
They can. And so you determine, I always say, see the emotion coming at you, take a deep breath, and determine how you respond. Because that's the big key here. That's the big key in the responsibility of becoming aware. Becoming aware means you make the determination of the decision on how you proceed. If you see, and to be honest with you, we should be doing that every day. We see the outside world, and in the outside world it seems chaotic and self-serving, but you can make a choice not to experience that completely by seeing the different viewpoint of, I will show kindness and compassion to others. And that is the beginning of how you change. That we all have to be aware instead of the programming that has been done to us for a long, long time. Many lives than we can even begin to understand.
I'm going to say this, and I've learned this is just Latiska's learning. I've learned that when I pray in the morning, that I'm really praying over me and my day. Even
Mhm.
though I'm speaking the words out loud that today is going to be a harmonious day filled with abundance of laughter and joy and peace and friends and, whatever it is. But I'm speaking all these optimistic, beautiful things that I want to see throughout the day. And I've noticed that it's not like I'm commanding the universe. It's almost like I'm commanding myself to be harmonious and I'm commanding myself to be like I'm saying, okay, I have to be that to attract it.
True. But take it further than that. Command the universe. The universe is yours to command. And you, because you are the creator. Every day when you wake up, say, before your eyes even open and your feet hit the floor, say to yourself, I expect miracles. I will experience miracles every moment of this beautiful day. Set your intention, set your words forward, set your thoughts and your actions. And then also, as you journey through that beautiful day that you planned, be aware of how you respond. And how you respond determines how someone else responds. Because there is no need for wars, and there's no need for division. There's no need for us to think one is better than the other. No one needs to have power over anyone, because we are enough and there is enough if we just shift how we see. If we shift how we see the world, there is everything that we need.
So now it sounds like you're saying there is no right and no wrong that's in our perception.
There is a right and wrong, because you don't want to go forward and do wrong behavior, because again it's a negative and you will draw a negative to you. So
Mhm.
every moment of every day is a choice. Always. Your choices are unboundful. They're always before you. Always.
Now, I have noticed that as far as because I hear a lot of people say when one door closes, another door opens. But usually, in just my being here this long, when one door closes, it's like a multitude of doors open, and it's your choice which door you're going to walk through. But that's me consciously aware of how many opportunities are coming at me at one time.
Correct. And remember, and when I do the fingers like that, that is the collective consciousness. You have a thread, I have a thread, and everyone listening has a thread. But humanity as a whole has its own thread. Because as you saw in your session, we went to the tapestry of life. You see how the significance of each one of those threads. But the key here is that we remember our actions are our responsibility. So the key to understand is that where the mind goes, the energy flows. And nothing has meaning except what you give it.
Mm,
Keep that in mind.
okay.
So when you see the news, they say, watch your news, but turn it off, but don't take it with you. Turn it off, but don't take it with you. Leave it where it belongs. Don't walk away from it all bound up inside and like a pressure cooker because you feel the things that the yin and yang, you got things positive, negative, that the
Mm-hmm.
negative want us to believe that there's not enough and there's fear and this group is bad and that group is bad. None of that makes any difference. All of that is power being controlled over us. We are the ones that give meaning.
Okay, so let's see. Can you explain how energy works through us?
The energy working through us is Source God Creator. And with that energy and learning, and this is the point that we are is in the thread of humanity for us to step into that awareness because we've been programmed that it's lights on, lights off. It's this life and no other. Whatever mistakes you made, that's the best you did in that class. And you will sit in the seat wherever you are in your idea of creation when that is not the case. Each life is an opportunity to learn and to grow. So the energy that we're working with is always around us, as I was explaining earlier. You are that thread of it with those time blocks that you planted for significant times that will, like a marriage, a birth of a child, a partner leaving us, all of those things being viewed can be viewed as good and bad, or positive and negative is the best way to describe them. So the choice is here, what is it that what is it that I plan to learn from it? What did I plan to learn from it? And so looking at it, see the emotion, but not become the emotion. So that you can say, okay, that is what I wanted to learn. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to carry that baggage and see myself as a victim because there's no victimhood in any part of life. We can make ourselves a victim by identifying, but that's the key. Understand how are you identifying yourself in your life? Are you seeing yourself as a victim? Are you seeing yourself as successful? Whatever you think, you give meaning to. So we want to look carefully and understand that we are the immortal spiritual being experiencing life. You are forever. You are forever.
Now, let me ask you this. Let's say I'm thinking one thing and saying another. How does that work? Is that like the
You're going to
universe
have
is like, what? What?
exactly. You'll get what you put out because the universe is the boomerang. Whatever you
Mm-hmm.
put out, and it's literal. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot stress that enough. It's literal. It will give you back what you send out. If you
Oh,
send
so it's
out,
no rebuke, and I rebuke that. Like, I rebuke that.
well, I say if something comes out, take it back quickly.
Okay.
And that's what I refer to the etch a sketch, the little red box with the knobs. Anytime your life is not where you want it to be, pick up that etch a sketch, shake it up, and start over. You can start over at any point in time in your timeline that you wish to.
I'm glad you said this. What are some of the reasons why we don't start over at any given time? Is it because we're holding on to bags from the past, or
Yes, because
too,
we're carrying
or
emotional, right? We're carrying emotional baggage, identifying ourself to that emotional baggage. We see because that's all we see, that's all we understand. But if you understand that life is much greater than you give it credit for, it's time to step into it. It's time to
oh,
step into it, shake off what you don't need, and move forward in the manner that you choose to move forward.
and I will say this. This is just, again, I can only tell you about my life. there has never been anything withheld from me. Even though my mind, a part of me may have been saying, oh, that's too much. And it was a part of me that knew nothing is ever too much. But to step out on that ledge and to believe it was the key, you know, to I'm gonna do it just to see if I can do it. Just see
And
if it can be done. I'm gonna try myself.
absolutely, absolutely. And that is the way we should all live. We should all live in that very manner because there's no boxes except the ones we create. And as I explained to you before, when people want to say, why is my life the way it is? It's just like someone locked in a cage with their fist held tight, crying out, why? Let me out, never realizing the key was in their hand all along. Unlock yourself and live the life you choose to live. You're meant to be here to be happy, to create all the things you want, create this grandest version of the greatest story called your life. Every minute, every day, every second, every year of your life.
And then I will say the spirit inside of us already knows these things, that these things are like, you can have this right now.
Exactly.
Why do you say you have to wait 6 months before you get it?
Exactly. And the universe says, okay, you want 6 months? I'll give you 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
And then if you get
Why
to
not?
you get to month 4 and 5 and you begin to question, it'll say, oh, okay, so you need more. That's what I'm saying. The universe is literal. Be clear in what you're setting out there to come back to you. Where your vibration is and where your mind goes, the energy will flow. And
Oh, you freezing up. All right, everybody, give us a few seconds. All right, everybody, I have no idea what's going on. LaDonna will be right back. I guess she's going to use her link to come back. Do not forget, I am Latiska Powell. This is the Good God Hour. You can catch this on YouTube. You can catch this on my Facebook Purpose Zone page. You can also catch this on Instagram Live. You can also see this on DFWDN Radio. Um, we are everywhere. We're in it. I am the author of We Have Powerful DNA. Please go to Amazon and get the book. The book is written for you, about you, with the intention to awaken, awaken the part of you that LaDonna is talking about today. The part of us, the fragments of the creator that we are. So let me see. What's taking us so long to get back in here? Let me get her back. Let me get her back in here. Yeah, I want y'all to know something. This is real. This is how stuff happen, really. And so I just keep going with the flow. I just keep going, come back in. I just keep going with the flow. So, A, yes, reincarnation is possible, thus saith the subconscious mind. Not quite sure if you were at the beginning where she talked about the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious, the three parts of the mind. And that Our subconscious mind holds all the information from the beginning of time, because who we are right now is extensions of who we have been in the past, from each lifetime. Each lifetime. Another thought process, what I would like to go, what I would like to come experience. Here she is. Yay.
So,
She made it back. She
yeah,
made it back.
we made this. We just swapped sides.
Okay. Woo. Now, I was talking about the subconscious and superconscious mind, and how you were telling us how our thoughts and words create reality.
Correct. And you're creating all the time. Be cognitive of what you're thinking, feeling, and saying all the time.
Now, question, can you fool the universe?
I would imagine not. I would
Look, because
imagine
you
not.
are the universe. I wanted you to say it no, because you are the universe. How can you fool
Right.
yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are all one. I am you, you are me. We are all one.
Ah,
Absolutely.
okay. So let's see. Can you talk to us about karma? Because now I understand positive karma, negative karma. And if I do a good thing comes back unto me. And that's not always what karma is it?
No, karma is something, it's not something you do to someone, it is something that happens to someone. It is not a it's not to be viewed as bad in the sense of the word. What it means is that what again, it's the energy. What you put out to experience, even if you experience it to someone else, that experience may come back to visit you.
Okay. Now
Okay?
let's say you put out something. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a good one. Let's say you have manifested something, and then which we all do, I believe, then once you get in it, you realize this ain't what I want. So then we begin to recreate what it is that we want. Now,
Redefining our creativity.
in the midst of our recreating, we're deleting, I guess the contrast that we did not enjoy experiencing. How we just kind of,
Yeah, you're redefining and resharpening your experience. Okay, even though you may have journeyed through a job and you had good and bad on that job, and you decide to change jobs, and you said, okay, well, this job I'm going to do differently. Your behavior that may have caused a ripple effect to you of a positive or a negative, you may say, I don't want to do those negatives in this new job. So you don't carry that behavior with you. Okay.
oh, okay.
So karma is what someone experiences based on what the boomerang of the universe gives back. Does
Okay,
that make
so
sense?
it can be positive or negative.
Correct. Your positive always brings you more positive, and your negative behavior will give you the opportunity to understand what you put out there for another, or for the world to experience, or for your experience, because you are the only one truly really experiencing.
Okay, yeah, because all is me. So I'm the only
Hmm.
I'm the only one experiencing anything. Ooh,
Hmm.
that's rough.
That is rough. But that's what it says about do unto others as you would have done unto you. It has
Hmm.
a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
It does.
It has a deeper
I
meaning.
will say this now. I'm a firm believer in telling the truth.
Hmm.
And sometimes the truth don't feel good.
The truth is hard because it's selecting the words that are not resistance or rough to the one receiving. You can be truthful, but you can be compassionately truthful. Some people want to be not compassionately truthful, and they really do let it go. And they may say things that they regret after the fact. And that's where you look back and you say, "Oh, I could have done so much better.
Hmm.
And so therefore you learned a lesson. And the lessons really are not that hard. You may come here and you say, well, I didn't do the it's like you're in school and you're checking off all the things that you have to, all the classes and you have to learn and all the experiences, experiment that you have to do in the class to learn from. So you say to yourself, I'm going to do better going forward on how I treat people. And in doing so, by normal nature, the person gives back to you what they're mirrors of you. Now, you can encounter where you are kind and you get resistance. But the key is, what do you do when that resistance is before you? Remember, I said, see the emotion, but do not become the emotion. At every moment, you have an opportunity to shift in your timeline how you respond, always.
Now, where does the emotion come from? Is that taught behavior or seen behavior? Or
Usually, emotion is programmed behavior from generations to generations. When I first started into this, and it's a peculiar thing, a while now, they were seeking to awaken people. The collective loving consciousness, was seeking to awaken people. And then I began to have threads of commonality with my clients. I did a year or so of recovering addicts, sexually abused people. And we went into that family history and healed generations to generations and generations. Because as creators, we're not only creating in our personal life, we're creating for humanity as a whole. So we're having to clean up our own miscreation. We are now needing to clean up humanity's miscreation because we can't move forward in the coming years when the awareness becomes stronger and stronger. We can't take this negative energy with us. We can't. We won't be able to step into the elevated awareness that they seek to give us and that humanity will step into.
okay. Now, could you explain to us? This is something that was not even thought of until just now. Uh, what do they call it? Ascension symptoms.
You're going to feel, usually I see the commonality in my clients that they come in and they'll say, well, like a year or so ago, this happened, and I begin to see things differently, and I begin to have ringing in my ear, and my sleeping pattern was off. Those are all signs and symptoms of moving forward. But the greatest sign is to see the transformation begin within you, and you respond differently than you think you might have or you may have with a different mindset going forward. The change comes from within. We can't change the outside world unless we begin from within, because what we do within is reflected in our reality.
And I could say this: once you change the picture within here, the Bible says, "Get your house in order." Once you get your house in order, it's a lot of things in life you won't even experience anymore.
Right.
Like
Because
it's like it's a whole
they
new
don't,
world that you wake up in.
yes, they serve no significance at that point in time because your awareness is at a different level than you were when you were in that, and those things meant something to you. You begin to realize it's not a rat race where we got to collect all the marbles and we got to hoard them and we can't share them. It's not. We will shake. That's a miscreation of humanity's thread, and we will begin to see, if I reach down and help you up, then you will take that ripple throughout your life and you will reach down and you will help. This is the same thing. Help another helps yourself. And people say to me, well, if we're going to go through this shift, how will my little shift, how will my only little shift make a difference? Oh, my dear one, is not the smallest pebble thrown in a pond cause a ripple. Every soul that steps into its truth and its awareness is a big pebble in the pond of transformation. Every single one.
Now, what about, and I just want to kind of touch on the yes people. I'm just so super kind people. I just let you walk all over me, people. What do you have to
But
say?
that may be their contract. Everyone's contract is different. Every contract that you encounter is different. But if you encounter that behavior until that individual chooses to be different, there may not be a shift in the way they move forward. But that may be part of their contract that I had to experience that. That's what I'm saying. The contracts are so much more simpler than we actually think we are. Oh, we think that things got to be complicated. It's got to be layered upon layered upon layered before
Mhm.
I'll even buy it and I'll believe it and I'll understand it. When in all actuality, you may have come to learn forgiveness. You may have come to learn how to be at ease when resistance is all around you. The contracts are much more not as complicated as we think and much more gentler than we allow them to be. That's why I say, see the emotion coming at you, take a deep breath before you respond, look at it. What did I plan to learn from this experience? Engage your response based on what you think your contractual agreement with yourself was, because your self is the contract.
Okay.
Everybody else is the players that come to play the people that you want in your life. And I say to people, when you encounter resistance in your life, oh, maybe you really need to thank that person the most because they came to be your resistance. And when you encounter resistance, we're like water. We will find a way. We will go above, below, around. We will continue to flow.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you take with you in that flow? Do you take with you negative behavior and I'm going to project it onto someone else as soon as I get an opportunity? Or you say, I learned from that. If I had spoken kindly instead of roughly, the response back to me may have been kindly instead of extra roughly. What
Okay.
you send out comes back. Your energy in flow all the time. The
My
universe is so loving, it will give us back what we send out to it.
and that's my train of thought when I interact with people. I say to myself, "That is me, and I am that." And so, how would I react to this question?
One of the things that they say that is so important to learn is that what we do to another will come back to visit us. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to be aware of that. And so that brushes up on that word that you want to call karma. And
Okay.
really, that's a word that's a word that we gave meaning to.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it goes back to the verse, do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. That simple.
So I would say a lot of the roughness in life, we are the culprits of it.
They can be, but then you built those blocks where you set a certain lesson to learn, and what you do with it is how you determine what grade you got from that experience. And will it come back to revisit you? But the most important thing, so like if I do a session and the person struggled in that life and they starved, and so they say as they cross over, don't, when we go back we'll clean up if you made a pact with yourself that you will carry into the next life. They say, I'm never going to starve again, I will never starve again, and then they come back into this next life and they may have more weight than they wish to carry. It's because you have that seed, that you baggage that you carry. I'm going to eat because I starved before, but you don't really understand why you have that behavior. So we clean up contracts or pacts that you made with yourself as you exit. a previous life. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I
something
see
to hear.
I see that a lot when I have clients that come in, especially when it's, let's say we were in the thread of time where we had the witch trials and they were tormented before their departure, and they made a pact before they, and who, only the soul knows what that pact was, but that pact will carry with you for another opportunity to experience. And the question will be, will you be the perpetrator or will you be the victim? Because you play both. You play both. It's the yin yang. You play both. That is the only way you understand. You play
And
both.
that's now that I do kind of understand that you have to play both sides of it. Be even male, female, black, white,
Right, right,
Hispanic, and you have to
right.
be it all to understand it all. You have to be a rock, you have to be a bear, you have to be a bird, you have to be a tree, you just have to be.
And that's
But
it.
then
Just be.
how do you be how do you be, I guess before my awakening, my knowing, I felt as though I like it was life was what it was. If that makes any sense. Life was just what it
Absolutely.
was. And
Absolutely.
then I had an experience and then I couldn't unknow what I knew. And I didn't find it out in a book. I found it out with inside of me. So it's not like something I can say, well, I can't necessarily believe that because that even when you read a book, that's somebody else's perception. Or you read an article, that's only their perception. So this came from within me that
Correct.
I couldn't even explain.
And that's
So
that on your timeline that you planted there.
so now I'm in a space of awe because I see the beauty. And I'm talking about at the beginning, LaDonna, all I did was cry. But it was like happy tears. It was really happy tears. But
Yeah,
all I could do was cry because I'm like, I am surrounded by.
right.
That's all there is.
Well, the clue is for you and anyone listening, you're never alone. The moment you take your breath in life, you have I would call it an entourage of souls and guides that are with you. And anyone in your life that exits your life, they look back and they watch over you. Okay. When you cross over, it's not, you continue just as we're doing here. We continue to learn. We continue to strive to be. The journey continues. And that's the key. All souls are on a journey of remembrance of who they are, what their truth is, so that they can take responsibility and create appropriately so that we can change the experience as a whole, not only for ourselves, but for the planet. We are the most angriest, roughest planet. We don't want to take that information and that ability out into the greater universe because you are here now. It's the train that we talked about. When you're sitting at that train track, you see the engine go by and it's car after car after car until you say, when will this train ever end? And then you finally see the caboose. Everything between that caboose and that engine is a block car that is a life in your thread. You have lived every one of those box cars. And so when we do the session, at the moment you literally sit for that session, what they and your higher self want you to know is what is revealed to you at that time, because that's what you're ready to receive. And the key is to allow, receive, and believe. And the more you talk in the session, the more they will download to you. And they download through each and every one of us through our subconscious mind, our hard drive, because it's all the knowledge and experiences of every life you've ever lived. Now, you may hear people say, well, what is this thing called about backdrop people? We are encountering the energy of backdrop people. Backdrop people come here only for the energy to be behind the crowd to push us in the direction that we need to go. That's the purpose of when you hear someone reference, what is a backdrop person? Am I a backdrop person? Backdrop people are just, when you look into a crowd, you see the people right in front of you and you can identify with them. So you feel them, but you see massive, massive, massive amounts of people. That's the same thing. The backdrop people are way out there in the very back of everything, pushing humanity forward.
And I've had I've had several experiences of the Matrix. One day I was in the doctor's office and I was saying something to the doctor, and whatever I said, he did like this, like he got froze for a minute, and then when he
Mm-hmm.
started back speaking to me, it wasn't even what we were talking about. So then I just kind
Right.
of said, "Oh,
You
okay."
saw the glitch in the matrix.
Yeah. The second experience I had, I was at a convenience store, and I had just saw this same man not too far away from this convenience store, but now you behind at the register. So I
Mm-hmm.
say to him, I said, "What are you doing here?" And so he answered me back, and I'm like, "Oh, but I just saw you here, and now you behind the register, but just paying attention to stuff."
Yeah.
But then when I say things like that to people, they think, I'm kind of, but these are actual events. Like I was telling you, the television blanked off. My television set went straight black, and it said, "God is alive,"
Mm-hmm.
right across my TV screen, because
Mm-hmm.
I was holding a conversation with someone that wanted to know, was God alive? Now I know God is alive, or
Mm-hmm.
the creator, the universe, source. I say God because Christian based, but I knew God was alive. But for my television to do that, I couldn't cut it off. I picked up the remote, couldn't cut it off. I had to actually unplug the TV
Right. Right.
for it to even leave my screen. Or I notice, like, if I'm thinking of something and I say, or if I say something like, I'm going to start researching such and such and such, it'll just pop up on my timeline.
Yes. Yes.
Or
And you
how to
know
get
what?
something done, it'll just pop up on my timeline. Like, here,
And
here you
and
go.
and be very cognitive of the fact that every day you interact with something that is trying to mimic the universe, and we're on it right now. Do you ever notice that if you look up one thing, then over to the side, you'll see advertisements for the very thing you looked up?
Mhm.
You know, it's humanity trying to create its own form of a universe. So
Wow.
you have to see these things and see them in a different perspective.
Now, have you ever heard? I know you've heard of Billy Carson, right?
Hmm.
Okay, he said a couple of years ago. Do you remember that the video game The Sims?
Hmm.
The Sims would be live by this year, 2022, and so that's exactly what you just said. That
Exactly.
we are.
Exactly. And since we've broached that subject, let's talk about something very important here. You come in with sovereignty that is yours, and you control your free will. And it is important to understand to never cross over to someone else's sovereignty, never cross over and try to control their free will, because
Mhm.
then you've stepped into their energy. We don't want that done to us, and humanity as a whole will begin to push back. And I have been told by they that the children born from 2007 on to now are going to be the ones to shake the living daylights out of us, and we're going to move forward in a way that they say, well, that may have been the way you did it, but we're going to do it this way now. I was told that the 2001 babies, the 9/11, those children came here in that energy of that event, and we have those events often in the thread of humanity because they're to crack the heart. Light can't get in if the
Okay.
heart is so sealed up, it just will not. So we have these experiences as a whole to say, whoa, that is just too much now. We can't go there. And you
Mm-hmm.
begin to say, well, why did people behave like that? What brought that energy to create that event? Those are the major blocks in the thread of humanity that we talked about. COVID, I spoke to COVID through a client, and COVID said the same thing. We had to have another crack of the heart because the 9/11 only opened a few hearts,
Mm-hmm.
which is many because we're millions and billions.
Yes.
So the cracking of the heart, they went further. Now, you'll see it differently if you look at it on the news and all that. Don't look at that as being the essence of what it is. It's really, they had to isolate us so we would get off the social media and quiet the mind to allow the opening to get in. And it gave an opportunity for many to show more compassion. The experience was not always a good ride for many people, but it's the essence of what it was meant for is to hard reset for humanity as a whole. Okay.
Mm. And I will
And
say, this is just my opinion. It continued on because of the conversations of it too. Like it could have been over.
yes,
It really could have been over. But because of the fear and because of the conversations and the again, if you don't know who you are, you really won't know how to control your energy anyway.
right,
So if
right,
you do know who you are, controlling your energy is a must when it comes to certain things because that's when you actually have to shed light in a dark situation.
yeah,
Hold on now, we know better than this.
yeah,
You know, this is not how we do it because we're covered. There's nothing that can truly harm us. So it's no fear that can come near us. But then that's for someone that is aware,
right,
you
right.
know, be the
I
light
tell
and not be the
I tell people all the time, is life living you? You're having a lot of trauma drama. Life's living you. If you're living life, you're creating beautiful experiences. So you want to be the one in control. And at any given time, you can stop and say, okay, reset. We're going to do this differently now. And you
Mhm,
be the one in control. And you be aware of every action that you take and every word that you speak and every thought that you give. I tell people all the time, the moment that a negative thought comes, back to what you and I just talked about recently, the Ho'oponopono prayer
mm,
definitely, definitely needs to be done. And it's the cleaning of everything. And that cleaning of everything is our miscreation and misperception of God's, source God's, creator's perfect creation. You say, I am sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. You're not saying I'm sorry to someone that did you wrong. You're saying I'm sorry to Source God Creator for seeing imperfection in perfection. That's the key. So you clean. I am not someone that enjoys a mall, but I will go as far as go to the parking lot and sit in my car and I will clean. I clean the mall, the people going in and out, the people that made the cars, the people that made the road, the people that made the buildings. You got to clean because we created a world that we need to now recreate.
And this is a
Recreate.
great way to do it. And I don't know if you ever thought of it like this. The Bible says, in the beginning, the world was void. So I look at life like this. In the beginning, when I wake up, my world is truly void until I start speaking and thinking.
Absolutely. Setting your intentions.
So waking up in the morning knowing my day is void until I begin thinking and speaking. What am I thinking and what am I saying this early in the morning? What is my
Yes.
intention? Am I just up grabbing my phone? Am I up on some kind of program? Let me do this, let me do that, the let me that we have. Or am I consciously waking up aware that my day is void? As I'm going to sleep at night, I kind of cool myself to sleep in gratitude, as far as thank you for the bed, thank you for my pillow, thank you for the day, and kind of rewriting my day. So then as I go to sleep, I may think of how I would like my day to be the next day. But set my
Absolutely.
intention to always know that when I first awaken, my day is void. And it's up to me to create what I see.
Right.
And the next thing I do is I go outside. I know I can speak anywhere that I choose to speak, but I like to go outside and speak into the air and let the wind carry my words. And that's my spiritual ritual for
Very
the day.
good. Very good. And at any point in time you're having a day, say you get up late and you rush, 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 and then it just seems like on those kind of days, everything is like one domino after another of something negative experience. But you could say to yourself, okay, it's time to rewrite this. Take a deep breath and choose how you respond. And the moment you hit that retake of breath and reset of how you move forward, you can change what you see coming at you. You're you're always going to have the yin and yang. You're always going to have the positive and negative. That is the universe. That is the opportunity. And I call it the university of universe. We're
Mm-hmm.
in the university and we are here to learn. And
Mm-hmm.
we learn through experiences. And we
Experience.
experience through emotions. Period. End of discussion. That is exactly what it is. So, what do you do with the emotion that is generated in you? That's the key right there.
And I would like to add, how do you rewrite the story? Let's say that you have a victim mentality. Like me growing up, I tell people this story a lot. I was adopted. My mom left me in a hospital. For a long time, I felt a certain type of way, unworthy, unlovable, da da this, that, no. For a long time, that's how I felt. Because I was a child growing up. Now I'm an adult with my own children. And it took me, I was driving cabs and I met a young lady. She got in the car, she was inebriated. And she was telling me her story about she was adopted and didn't nobody love her and da da this, that, and the other. And I said, you know what? We have a like story, but I don't see my story like that. Because my mom could have left me anywhere, but she left me in a hospital. But people were surrounded waiting on me to get there. She
Mhm.
left me in a place where I got my shots and I had diapers put on me, clothes put on me, and people held me. And they wanted to know what my name was, surrounded
Mhm.
me with love. But I had to
Mhm.
actually rewrite that story for myself because I want you to understand all the information that I had gotten about my mother growing up was negative.
Mhm.
Even though this was from her own family members, her sisters, and everybody had something negative to say. Nobody had anything positive to say. So now I create the image of my mother from all this
Based
negative information.
based on the programming.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
for the average person, that may not be their rewriting. Tell us, how do we rewire that victim mentality?
By your choice. You said to yourself, that's not going to be my story. And it may have been your contract with yourself that I will overcome. I will survive. See how simple the contracts are. I will overcome. But yet she came to be the one to abandon. And
Mm.
she would have said, okay, all right, that's going to be hard, but I'll come to be the one to abandon. And you say, and I'll come this time to be the one that will persevere and survive and not allow it to make me a victim. That's
Wow.
how simple these contracts are.
Hmm.
That is how, in the sessions, when I bring people together with those energies of on the side, oh, that's they could be on the other side or here. You feel, because only through feeling can you identify and understand, and you see things from a different perspective, and then
Okay.
you perceive a different outcome.
Mm.
When you cross over, there is no great man sitting on his throne waiting to judge you. You meet the harshest judge there ever could be,
Yourself
yourself.
in the mirror
You
daily.
and when the life review happens, you learn because you see both sides of the coin. You experience your reaction, but you experience the feelings of the other party's actions. That's how
Wow.
you learn. So I say to myself, when I'm having good moments in my life, which there are many, I'll
Hmm.
say check. And I will remind myself when I cross over, I'm going to go back to remind myself of all the good times. And I want to relive those emotions and those feelings that I had, like the birth of a baby or a marriage or anything that's significant in your life, mark it in your timeline. So when you do your life review, okay?
Okay. Now, can you tell us a little bit about today?
Today is a powerful energy day, and we have four eclipses coming in this year. I think one's soon to be, Friday. I think the 15th. Don't count me on the dates. I could be off. We've got one in April. I think it's the 15th and May 15th, 16th, and October the 25th, and November 7th and 8th. These are powerful eclipses because of the fact that the energy will come in much, much stronger. We are so loved, and we're loved always, and we agreed to be here, to be the players, to carry the thread of humanity forward. They're giving us these energy downloads to help those that are still not completely aware. And as we seek this awareness, we will begin to behave and act differently. But today's energy is so powerful, it's coming in from the top of us, the bottom of us, the sides of us, as if we're in a box like a mirror. And that energy is going to be so powerful today. And one of the things they're asking us, because we are immortal spiritual beings, one of the things that we've been programmed to think is that life is only one chance, and that is not the case. And what does that one chance do to so many souls? It creates fear. We live in fear. We fear that something is above us and it's going to take us out any moment, and then it's all over. And what did I do with my time? And I could have done better. But the key is you're going to be okay. Breathe, just breathe, and then step into the awareness and reset how you go forward and how we behave and treat each other. But take the time to learn, to journey, to learn who you are as you go forward. And that's what the sessions are about, an inward journey to remember who you are and to learn your truth. And you are a powerful creator.
So, from how would you explain what we consider to be death here?
So it's funny you should ask that. I had early on in my work, I had someone come to me And I ended up doing a thread of those end of life, people that were ill and they knew that life was coming to an end. And she said to me, she was young enough that she had, you know, middle middle youth and middle teenage sons and middle 20 sons, 20-year-olds. And she wanted to know what would happen to her children. And then she said to me, she says, but if I'm going somewhere, where is it that I'm going? Well, in that session, she is sitting next to me in the chair here next to me in my recliner, and she's got her eyes closed, and she tilts her head to the right, and I sit to the left of her. And she tilts her head to the right, and she says, oh, he is so beautiful, and the energy coming from him is just love. It just comes across me like melted butter. She says, it's just amazing. So I say to her, tell us who he is, ask him who he is, so we'll both know. She says, it is God. It is God. And she began to have a conversation. And he asked her to stand up and look back at the chair. So here she is with her eyes closed, and she stood up and looked back at the chair and saw herself in the chair. I could only see her standing up. But when she saw herself in the chair, she says, oh, I did not know I looked that bad. And then she realized, he says, it is just like that. Just like that. You just step out of the body. You step out of the vehicle. And your essence of who you are, your true essence, energy is continuous. And he told her, and he told me, this is my beloved, and she will soon be with me when she's ready. And she believed lived about 5.5 months, not quite 6 months. But she got to see her sons having children. She got to see all that she needed to see. But her contract was to be here to experience the departure through an illness and to be the one to leave the children, and the children had to go on their journey through the departure of the mother. See, everything's a contract. We are abandoned and we will abandon.
Mm.
Okay?
Wow. Now that's huge right there.
That's correct. You are
Mm.
the perpetrator and you are the victim.
In the same life or in a
Different lives.
oh, okay. 'Cause I'm like, oh
In
my
different
God.
lives.
Oh
Yeah,
my
different
God.
lives. Yeah.
Look, I was
You
gonna hold my hands up, Lord, don't want to do it.
no no no. You play the yin yang. You're the positive and you're the negative at any different points of life, you know? And I've had people that they struggled their whole life and then they cross over, and when we look back at the life lessons that they sent and concentrated on learning in that life, look at your life review. What was it that lesson in that life was meant to learn? And they said that I could persevere through the struggle, I
Mhm.
will survive. But they oftentimes see themselves showing great kindness to those that they encounter, even though the life they're in is the struggle.
Mm.
Now, you say, well, what about these people that come here and they're famous and they have everything? Well, sometimes those are what we call rider lives. They just come in for easiness. But what do they do in the experience of actuality? Are they kind? Do they empower others, or do they power over others? At all times, what are you doing in your experience?
So now my question to you is, uh, I guess it would be knowing that you play in both ends of the story. You got this story going on within yourself, like the word itself, God. It can be creator, source, universe, soul. It could be a multitude of words, right? The book says that I'm all there is. Wherever you are, I am. So that means I can be God and I can be that other one too. Because all of this exists in just that most high. But now, just as the name can be anything, could also my perception be different from your perception of what I think the creator looks like? I think
Absolutely.
the creator is just light, just like this magnificent, with no shape, no form, no sex, no nothing. I have not attached anything to it.
Correct.
No
Correct.
hair, no hands, just this magnificent, you know what I'm saying? Just this magnificent
Right. And
light.
you're actually hitting on something that's another significance that they want us to learn. Do not judge anything. Do not judge anything. Because the moment you judge, you stepped into that energy. So we do not want to judge anything. Nothing what someone views as wrong in their perceived perception, may be different in someone else's. Now, I'm not saying don't throw victimization in there. If you're
Mhm.
overpowering somebody and victimizing somebody, that's not the positive, negative that you want to carry into your timeline. Everything's a choice. But at any given time, we respect each other, and that's the key to the peace of the world. You know, there's no reason for wars. There's no reason for hoarding that there won't be enough, because we are enough and there is enough. If we
Extreme. It's
just
extreme.
just don't give our sovereignty away by allowing ourselves to be led, as opposed to living our own truth.
Now, how do you say we are led? Are we led by? I can say that sometimes I feel like society is being led by the things that it sees because it just will not disconnect. Just cut the TV. I don't understand how is it from the time you wake up is something you listening to something and hearing something. It's always something. When are you ever quiet? Cut all
Hmm.
of that off and just be
Hmm.
quiet. Why do you have to have something constantly pouring into you? You can't hear like that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And you can't even hear yourself. Absolutely. But the same source that told the client to stand up and look back at herself told both of us that we have to experience the positive and the negative, and that the pendulum of negative has been in that area for millennia, but the pendulum will now swing to the positive, and great things are probable for humanity if we allow it. If we allow it.
Mm,
But don't be hurted. Don't be hurted. Stand up, stand in your truth. And if you're being pushed in a herd, if it doesn't speak to you, then step out of the herd. Every moment, every second is a choice.
okay. Now, can you tell us? Okay, you told us about the energies for today. We went over karma. We spoke about the connections that we are fragments
Of source,
of the
God,
creator,
creator,
of source God
fractals.
creator. And because of the shift that is today, is there any affirmations that you would like to give us to kind of, because I understand affirmations work. You have
Yes,
to work with these things, especially if you're not used to saying them. You got to say them for 15 days or better.
yes. If you'll give me just a moment, I put something together because I wanted to share this with you. I found this lovely soul. Her name is Shannon Kaiser. And she is the author of Return to You, 11 Spiritual Lessons for Unshakable Inner Peace. And I liked her prayer and
Mhm.
her prayer for peace. And that prayer is, I detach from anything that seeks to separate, anything that says us versus them, anything that says my way or the highway, anything that seeks to separate, destroy, condemn, shame, or blame. Instead, I choose unity. I choose kindness and compassion. I choose love. That's the key. We are created from love. You've always been loved, and it will never be any other way. I say, we are loved. We are loved. You've been loved all along, and it can never be any other way because you are the essence of love. And that love can be shared at any time with anything.
And then I would
And
like to, I
animals
would,
are here to remind us of love. That's the purpose of animals on the planet. They're here to hold the space for love. They're the constant reminder to us, love. It doesn't ask anything back. It just gives love.
mhm.
So that was the little seed that was planted all along with humanity.
Ah, I have to write that down.
Animals hold the space for love. And you can see it. You see people get all kinds of silliness with animals, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And they're
Now, I want
experiencing
to talk
love.
about, I want to talk about love because
Hmm.
love is one of those things that it can be given in many dimensions. Love can,
Yes,
and
but it can
people
be
can
a
only,
tool. It can be a tool misused too.
there we go, and people can only give you what they have knowledge of themselves.
Exactly. Exactly. But
So,
what is the knowledge that they have? Has it been programmed, positive or negative? Because if you grow up in a loving relationship, you seek to go out into the world to have loving relationships, you know? But if you encounter someone, even if they're first, let me reset that. You don't ever put yourself in a position to where you could be harmed.
mhm,
Okay. First thing, don't confuse the two. But if you encounter an ability to share love, and I don't mean sexual love, just
mhm.
kindness, compassion. You never know who you may speak to that your smile or your words were the very thing that they needed to hear. And that's the key in how we move forward and how we treat and interact with each other. And coming through a session, it pulls back the veil for you to understand all the love that you encounter through the session and the feelings you encountered. A great experience in your last session. You said he was much cooler than I thought he was.
Mhm.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
It was Jesus. Meeting Jesus was exciting. It was very
Yes,
exciting because I don't know what I thought. I don't know what I thought Jesus would look like, and I don't know the characteristics of what I even. But what I saw was a cool cat.
yes, yes, yes,
What I saw was a cool cat, and I'm like, and he is talking to me like now, like 2022, talking to me.
exactly.
Not thou and they and all of that. He is actually speaking to me like 2022. And I'm like, this is too cool that you would even come.
Hmm.
And then to find out my daughter was my mother. And I always had something. I always knew something was up with her eyes. Like, what is up with this little girl right here?
So let's talk about that real quick there, okay? So this is the mother you saw through your daughter's eyes, the mother that you raised you, or the one that you felt abandoned you.
The one that abandoned me.
So she came back through your daughter to give you the healing relationship. See how beautiful life is?
That is
See how
beautiful.
beautiful our soul families are? It's
And then
just,
understanding the soul family, like,
it is.
hold on,
It
let's
is.
talk about when I went to the, where did we go to
The the healing center or the tapestry of life.
the healing center? And that table was so beautiful, like a,
Yes.
um, give me a stone,
Mm-hmm.
not like a amethyst, but a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful crystal.
Crystal.
Yeah, and I laid on this big old table, and all these, it looked like giant angels with these huge swords all around me. And then, but in the in between and in behind, it was like all of these people all there for little on me,
Yes. Yes.
for
Yes.
little on me. And to see the tapestry, how everything is intricately placed together. Like
And
I'm gonna say for me, sometimes getting into manifesting, I can become a little impatient. And I had to really put into my mind, it takes time to create these things. You know, we have to get the, first of all, the people have to be willing to be in it. You know, you have said you want this person in it, but what if they're not, that's not their free will to do so.
exactly.
So now
Exactly. But
we
you got to
got
be
to
in the
build,
vibration. You got to line up with the vibration of what you desire.
and then they have to be in the will too. They
Yep. They
got
have
to
to be the
want what
cog
you
in the
want.
wheel.
Yeah, because if they don't want what you want, the answer's gonna be no, and it's okay. It's okay that they say no. And learning how to wait on the universe's time,
Hmm.
because understanding, soon as I asked, it was done. But when I began to waver and lose that sound mind thinking, and because it's not happening fast enough, and I'm going in and out, in and out, in and out, it's kind of like doing this into the universe, like, do she want it or do she not? Do she want it or
Yep.
do she not?
Exactly.
I think she want it. No, she don't. You know? And for me, it took a time, it just took me to balance and understand you must focus and concentrate. That it's essential that you have a sound mind. Once you pray a prayer, know that it is done,
Believe. Believe. Believe.
and understand that the universe starts at the end. Where we started at the beginning of the creation, the universe is really on the other end, drawing those things to us.
Hmm.
Or even to go into prayer as though you don't already have a thing, is telling the universe that you lack.
Hmm. Don't hold lack. Don't hold the mindset of lack. Don't
We're not
perceive
lacking.
lack. Right.
We are abundant, extremely abundant, because as I look around, it's an abundance of clouds, abundance of air, abundance of trees, abundance of leaves, abundance of grass, abundance of houses, cars. Everything is given to us in abundance. If I had a cold, I would have an abundance of cold medicines that I could take. You know, even smoking cigarettes. If you smoke cigarettes, guess what? You got abundance of packs of cigarettes to pick. Whatever it is that you choose, understand, and no matter what you say, your pockets say, the universe agree with you. That's why it's a dollar
Hmm.
store, and that's why it's a Gucci store.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly.
It agrees with you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You did good. You had a beautiful session. You really did.
And it's all because of you.
Oh, I'm
And I
just
just
the
love you. I just
thank you, thank you. I'm just the I call myself I'm the operator. I'll dial you up and I'll make the connection and then I become your guide to assist you on your journey. That's why the more you say, the more they'll reveal. And oh, they want you to understand as much as they can possibly give you in that one time. But I have, like you did, I have many that come back once they grasp it. Oh, then you come back because you're ready to understand and you go seeking And this time you went seeking and you received.
And I don't think the first time I think the first time I was probably wanting to control it, if that makes any
Exactly.
sense. And this time I went in there like, okay, I surrender, I let go, I'm ready to receive.
Well,
LaDonna, you in there? Okay.
your
I don't know.
words were, I'm the open vessel. And that's the key. Words to me, I'm going to be the open vessel. But when you spoke the word, I am the open vessel and I'm ready to receive, that is all they need.
Mm.
That is
And when
all
I
they
tell
need.
you, it blew my mind to even talk to the council. And I don't even know why I thought, you know what I always thought the council looked like?
Hmm.
Aliens.
Hmm.
I always thought they were like green. You know, every time I would hear something about the council, I thought they were maybe green and with robes on. And I don't know where my mind takes me, you know, and I
Yeah.
understand that whatever we think, that's what it is.
And
And
they're
that's
going
the
to present
beautiful
to
thing
you
about it.
exactly. They're going to present to you what you think you need to receive them.
To be
I'll share.
safe. That's right. For you to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
comfortable.
I'll
Mm-hmm.
share this. I'll share this with you real quick before we part. I had in all the hundreds and hundreds of sessions I've done, I I love the sessions because I'm like a mother seeing children walk for the first time. That just the mere fact that they recognize themselves and it changes them. But I experience, and I would say periodically, "Oh, I want a proof of life. I want a proof of life." And lo and behold, I get a young man that comes to me for his 21st birthday. It was a gift from his father. And in his session, he was so cute. He was from Brazil. So he was Spanish. When he came in and he sat down, they gave him the most amazing session. He went under, and when he came down, he was in an airplane and he was being shot at, and he realized he was in World War II, and he was out over the ocean, and he says, I don't know if I want to see, I don't know if I want to see. So he went on through the journey anyway, and he was shown that the plane was hit and he fell out of the plane and he came down to the water. And he says, I don't know if I want to know. I don't know if I want to know. So we came up and we just viewed it as the observer. At any point in time, we could come up and see it as if we're watching a movie. Well, he was captured and he was in a camp and he was rescued in 1945 because when he came up, he didn't want to see what happened. He thought, I'm gonna die when I hit that water. I'm gonna be bitten by a shark. I don't want to see it. So we left, and and you could see him. He goes whoop, and his guide threw a gold lasso and pulled him up, so he didn't experience any more. So when we got through with the session, he had a beautiful, amazing session. But when we came to the end of the session, as we were closing, him and I could hear this in the back of my head. Well, you asked for proof of life. You asked for proof of life. So then
Mm.
I said, well, how will I go about searching for the proof of life? And it dawned on me, oh, you showed me military. So I was able to find him because in the plane, before he come out of that plane, I've never had a client do this to me before. He tilted his head and looked at me with his eyes closed, and in the most southern way, he said to me, well, ma'am, who are you? And he said, and I told him who I was, and I was journeying with him. And he says, well, you can call me William Montgomery. I am William Montgomery from Alabama. And he spoke like he was from Alabama. This is a young Spanish young man speaking very southern Alabama language. So when he left, I got online and I sat before the computer and I said, show me where he is. And I was able to go online and find him as a POW with his name exactly as he said, in the time frame that he said, and he was rescued when they liberated the concentration camp where they were holding him as a POW, and he went on with his life. That was my
Mm,
first. You ask and you receive. Periodically I would say, because would, and I understand now why my love for history, because it works well for me doing the sessions. I love time travel. I love learning. I love history. And so periodically, if I'm in a session and they give me the time frame, I'll throw a curveball like, well, who was the king? And they'll shake their head and say, but there is no king, it's the emperor. So that confirms, those were little confirmations to me of the validity of they're there. They know what they're
mm.
talking about. And then to find this young man, that was one of the greatest things that I've discovered. And they said, and I could hear them later. They said, "Well, you asked for it,"
And that's one
and I
thing I
understood.
tell everybody. If you better know when you
Hmm.
ask for something, you just better be open and willing to receive it. And that's even like even if you just said it in prayer or you just ask the question in the atmosphere. Be aware of what you said and watch it come to you.
Yes,
The
yes,
prayer is just like that too, but I don't think people pray for things that really most of us pray for things,
yes, yes. Because
but we don't pray for substance. You
because we
understand or
identify with things,
understanding.
right? We identify with things, so we have the mentality to ask for things. We validate ourselves through things. The reason they showed this young man his life in this plane is because, unbeknownst to me, because clients don't always tell me everything, but that goes to show you how much more this is beyond us.
Mhm.
They said that he had lived many, many lives where he loved war. Oh, he loved it. His soul loved war. But this particular life, they did not want that to be a thread that he chose to experience. And so that was the reason they showed that to him. After he left, I downloaded all the information where he could see the name of the person he mentioned and sent that to him. And he called me back immediately. He says, "That is the craziest thing I've ever experienced." And it was so amazing. And he
Mhm.
had a relationship with his God that was just the most beautiful. They laughed and had fun on this journey, but
Mhm.
everybody's journey is so beautiful, and they seem similar, but they're so different. They're so different.
So you say we all have our own personal relationship.
Absolutely.
And you,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tell you how I learned that. My uncle, this was back in the 1990s. He was in front of his house and he was praying out loud. But while he was praying, he was saying curse words. And I said, "Hold up, what you doing? I mean, what you doing?" He said, "My son, this is between me and God. God know how I talk. Leave us alone." So I stepped back. I got back in my lane, and then I thought for a minute. I really don't have nothing to do with that. That's his relationship. Now my relationship, I'm not going to talk to myself like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not going to go to the creator like that. I'm not going to be like,
Hmm.
listen, mother scooter, do. I'm not going to do that because I don't want you coming at me like that.
But look how received we all are. Look how received
And
we
that's the
all
that's
are.
the thing. I think because he was so authentic,
Hmm.
like that's what the creator really wants. He wants us to be who we were created to be compared to being an imitator of something else. I didn't create you to imitate anything. You are the original.
Right.
There's nothing like a rose. Yeah, roses look alike, but none of them are the same.
That's correct.
And the only
That's
thing I,
correct.
I ask of you is to be who you are.
Correct. And
And
that's a
don't
hard.
judge yourself to a point where, you don't feel good enough, worthy enough, smart enough. Don't criticize, be that critical person in the mirror to yourself because you're actually talking to your soul and your soul is listening to you.
Yes.
criticize it. Your soul is listening to you. Tear it down. Your soul is listening to you. I tell people like this: imagine the little Latiska sitting on a bed while you're looking in the mirror. That's what you're looking at. The little you
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that should be held.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that may have happened along the way. Now I'm here to protect you. Now I'm here to stand up for you. Now, these things will never happen to you again. Or can we rewrite the story of what we think happened? Because we have a different perspective on what we
Mm-hmm.
thought happened.
Right. But when something happens to you, that does not make you who you are. You make you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone needs to say to themselves every day after they brush their teeth, look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you and you are enough. And I tell people, you got to do it. It's hard because the moment you say I love you, you tend to want to turn your head away
Mm-hmm.
because we're not comfortable with the awareness of who we are. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to fall in love with
With
yourself
yourself.
to be able to give love freely and wholly and beautifully to others.
I
Loving
told a friend,
yourself is not wrong.
I told a friend of mine the other day, I said, the Bible says, be ye holy because you are holy.
Hmm.
I said, most people can't look in the mirror and deem themselves as holy because they have conjured up their imagination of what they think holy is.
Right. Or what other people have programmed them to think they are.
Yeah, or what
Hmm.
holy should be.
Hmm.
At the end of the day, I was sanctified in my mother's womb. I am holy. I am a holy, sacred, divine vessel.
Correct.
No matter how anybody else looks at me, this is how I define me. This is how I define the people I interact with. You are a holy, sacred, divine vessel.
Correct.
Because it's not about the avatar. It's about what you really are, the
Let's leave
soul.
it. Let's leave it with the fact that you are love, here to experience love, to give love, to be love, and to know that you're an immortal spiritual being. Always live every day giving the love that you wish to receive. Put out what you want coming back to you, and we will change the world. Instead of fear and walking past people when we don't really want to look at them, that's the programming. That's the programming that has been done to humanity, and that we're going to be shedding, and we are shedding. So we want to remember we are love, we are loved, and we've been loved all along. And you're here to shine your light and mirror back to someone that love. Because every person you encounter is mirroring back to you. Ask yourself, why is that presenting to me? What is it that I'm to learn? See the emotion, but do not become the emotion. Make your choices without being in the emotion.
Okay, LaDonna, our time is running out. So please tell
Okay.
us, where are you located? How can we get in contact with you? I did put it in the description below, everybody. It is in the description below, but just from her words to your ears.
Right. So what we can do is the practice name is Your Soul Recovery, and the phone number is 904-370-3386. Again, 904-370-3386. You can leave a voice message, you can call or text, and I will return your call promptly if I'm with the client as soon as I'm available. There is also the webpage, yoursoulrecovery.com. Again, yoursoulrecovery.com. And you can also email me at yoursoulrecovery@gmail.com. Yoursoulrecovery@gmail.com. And for Latiska's Day, if you want to schedule a session, you can use the code Latiska, Latiska, and today's date 4/12. and that will give you 25 off of the session fee of $150 for a 3-hour session with an MP4 recording post session. And you use that code, you'll get the $25 off, and we will embark on a journey to remember.
Oh, that means I got to go in there and edit. Oh, Lord. I'm going to tell you, everybody, all of that is in there except for the code. So I'm going to go back. I have to go back into my pages and put the code Latiska 412
412,
at 25% off.
$25 off.
Oh, $25 off.
So the session will be $125 instead of $150. My sessions are $150 because when I first started, I was explained that that was what they wanted me to set my fee at, because the 1 and the 5 equals 6, and the 6 is the awakening number. And that is the reason that I stay with the 150.
Okay. Well, and before we go, let me run this commercial. You know, it is your girl, Latiska Powell, the author of We Have Powerful DNA. I'm also on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You pick the social media platform, and I am probably there. I am also a teacher, a mentor, a podcaster. So let me show you what I do. Make sure you go to Amazon, order this book. It was written with you in mind, for you, to enlighten you, help you see some things. LaDonna, have you read the book?
I did. But you know what? That's you said something very important there, because the journey inward is for you, by you. How loving can that be? How loving can that be? Because when you journey inward, the higher self, which is you, is the one that comes forward to assist you on your journey of awareness and learning. And you learn so much about yourself, your journey, and the players that played in the game, and why these things are experienced as you learned in yours.
So let me go. I'm going to play this quick clip. Make sure you catch my podcast on Anchor FM, and go to the divinetiming.com. Go to my webpage, go into the store and get some of those divine t-shirts for the
Absolutely.
summertime. All right, we're back.
That was beautiful.
Thank you. LaDonna, I want to say I truly appreciate you coming onto the show today. And I want to make this a series of topics.
Yes.
For us to kind of tune in, tap in. And you know I'm coming back to do me some more sessions.
You most certainly are.
I want the world to know. And if
Absolutely.
everyone who's listening, please get your $25 off. If you've ever thought about, is it a possibility of something other than what you've been taught? I'm a firm believer that all things are possible.
Absolutely.
I don't limit myself on anything. So if there is a possibility that this person can help me search within myself to find out something that's going to help me in this lifetime, I would make it my responsibility,
yes,
to become a better person here on this planet for everyone. You know, because there are things that we have to work through in life. That's one.
right.
Two, if you are aware that there are, you know, things beyond what we've been told, and you just want to talk to somebody or be able to open up to somebody, guess who you can do that with? Guess who you can do
Absolutely.
that with? She is available for you. She is
Absolutely.
available for you.
And
Me,
sessions are online and in person. So
I'm the
virtual
mentor.
and in person.
Look, I'm your mentor when it comes to biblical stuff. But
Mhm.
biblical stuff, I'm taking into another realm because I understand the infinite possibilities of all things. And so to open you up to this creative process of be, being more than you ever thought you could possibly be.
Correct.
You know, I do
I
hypnosis,
believe
but
it.
my hypnosis is to kind of help you with self-esteem or confidence, addictions, that kind of stuff. But me trying to regress you and figure out the core of this, that, and other, I don't know, that may spook me, LaDonna. So
They only show you what you choose to be shown.
I'm gonna give
Keep
you
in
a
mind.
thumbs up on that. I'm gonna stay in my lane, okay?
Gotcha. Gotcha, my dear. Gotcha. And I appreciate you having me today.
Thank you, and we will do it again. Everybody, I hope you had a great time, and we will be back
Love and light
later.
to everyone. Love and light.
Love and light.